a lot of women don't have orgasms. Why is there something that beautiful and you are not experiencing it? What is sex if you are not getting an orgasm out of it? When you are not feeling good and climbing to the second, third, fourth, and fifth heavens?
Well, how do you know you've gotten there?
Hey, I was gonna ask
my sister, I grew up as a church girl, that kind of thing. So you don't talk about sex much. You're supposed to wait until marriage, and there are good sides to it, but there are a lot of bad sides too. Because apart from keeping yourself till marriage, you don't learn anything about sex. Everything is wait till you are there, and even when you are there, who is going to tell you about it? You go to counseling, and when it's sex, they brush it quickly because probably the person teaching you about sex has not had an orgasm before. So how is she going to explain to you if you are a virgin and your partner is not? They have had all kinds of experiences, wild styles, and then here you come and you are green and you don't know anything. Even when you are having sex, you are supposed to be quiet. You are not supposed to make noise. If you make noise, what say? And even if you are enjoying it was all this show because
doctor, hold on.
When a man comes, he needs to go back to factory settings and take some time before he can come back again. But for me, I have no limitations. As a woman, you can have orgasm several times in a row. You don't need any reset.
First of all, what is orgasm?
What do you think it is?
Orgasm is that part where you feel like you have about to fly. Hi guys, you're welcome to Rants, Bants, and
Confessions.
So you guys have been seeing that we are always talking about relationships, men, sex. Well, that's true. I mean, everybody is doing it and nobody's talking about it. I mean, we are here for you. We are here to say it for you. All right. So today we are diving into the myths, the taboos, and the straight up lines we've grown up believing about sex. Okay, and today, so we're going to be doing this with Dr. Rosemond Osei-Kranting. Yeah. Did I get her name right? Yes. So she's here to help us dive into all of the topics that you people are afraid to talk about, the things that you're shying from. We're here to dissect and, give you all the gist about it with Doctor. So welcome.
Thank you.
Dissect and intersect.
Oh my goodness.
But before we get into conversation, thank you to Jando Place for giving us this amazing studio to host us. So yeah, shout outs to you. And like my lady said, we're here with our doctor. Listen, if you go on her TikTok, you will learn so much. Like, she's lacking nothing. She's so experienced. There's so much information. I learned some few things behind the screens. We're going to talk about that on screen. So yes, doctor. Welcome to Rants, Bants, and Confessions. How are you?
I'm good and I'm happy to be here. Shout out to your audience. Yeah.
If you see her, you won't think the things that she says, she says it to innocent way.
Me a virgin.
Please. No comments. But yeah, so first we want to know exactly what do you specialize in as being a doctor? What is your specialty?
Okay, so I'm a radiologist, a general radiologist. Okay. And I also have a subspecialty in pediatric radiology. So I take care of children when it comes to imaging.
Okay. Yeah, so when it comes to imaging as in?
So in medical imaging, we do X-ray, CT scans, MRI, ultrasound. And that's my specialty, to interpret, perform some of them, and to interpret all of them, tell the doctors what is wrong, what they need to do, where they need to look,
Doctor, yeah, shock. Big shock.
Well, I've heard that before.
But then when it comes to because today the conversation is basically around sex. When it comes to that, how do you fall into that as being a doctor?
Well, being a doctor is just a small part of my life. There's a lot more to my life than being a doctor. And I've had a fair share of life experience when it comes to sex and the juicy stuff we are going to talk about. Most of what I know has been informed by the experiences I have had. And I have grown to be very interested in relationships, marriage, and sex, because I know how important it is in everyday life. And we need to talk about it. People are not talking about it, although we are all having it and we are doing the wrong things. And we are and one of the things I learned, and I realized I was not alone in my old life, was that a lot of women, even people in committed relationships, don't have orgasms.
Yes,
like 70%. Some people will say 8. I'm like, oh my God, how can you not have orgasm?
90%. In Ghana.
And if you are having good orgasm and you hear this, it will shock your pants off, because why is there something that beautiful and you are not experiencing it? It is not good enough. I believe no woman or man, if there is any, go through life without having orgasm. It's one of the best things, really.
What's it? Orgasm is one of the best things, but a lot of women who are married, maybe in relationships, have never experienced orgasm. And I feel like also sex has been something, maybe I'm wrong, but sex has been something that's like is deemed for just a man to enjoy. Like most women, they talk about, pleasing their man and making sure the man is okay, but the woman has been forgotten. But before we even get into the ways of sex and how to please a man and how to please a woman, let's talk about why sex, or having a conversation when it comes to sex, is like a taboo. People are having sex. We're all having sex. You at home, you're having sex, and you might be having it the wrong way, but we don't talk about it. Why is it something that's so difficult to talk about?
Well, for a lot of reasons. First of all, in our culture, sex is that kind of thing that is had behind closed doors. The lights must be off. Even the people doing the sex should not see each other. And when you wake up in the morning, you don't talk about it. It's something that happens in the dark. And all you know is that your mom's belly is growing big, and then 9 months later, you come from school and there's a baby. Nobody talks about sex. Right. And so if you come out and you are talking, you're like, this is something nobody talks about.
You're so spoiled.
And especially for a woman, if you talk about sex, everybody looks at you in a certain way. What say? And you are supposed to just lay there for the man to do his thing. You are just a recipient, or you are doing your job as a wife. And that is the culture most of us have grown up in. And so talking about sex is a very big issue. Also for personal reasons. For example, sometimes when I go on interviews and I talk about sex and I come home, then my husband is looking at me in some way, that kind of. So when you talk about sex, people, sex is a very personal thing. You can talk about things you have read, but you can't talk about sex without talking about your personal experience.
Yeah.
And when you put yourself out there, your own partner or people, your church people, they'll be looking at you. Where did she learn it? Yes. So is that what she's been? People will judge you, and you become vulnerable to all kinds of attacks.
Yes.
And so people do not want to talk about it because they want to have their peace of mind. They don't want to be judged. And then also when it comes to sex, there are a lot of emotions attached to people's sexual experience. So for some people, they have had sex with people in the past and it was amazing. But for some reason, they never married those people, or their relationship ended and they are with other people and it's never the same again. And so anytime they have to talk about sex, there are flashbacks and there are regrets and there would have been and all that. the other side of the spectrum, some people have had very traumatic experiences relating to sex. And so they don't want to talk about it because they don't want to remember the trauma.
Right.
Yes. And so there's a lot of emotions that come with talking about the subject of sex. We are in a very patriarchal society where the man takes the lead in everything, including morality. And so the man is the one who is supposed to decide a woman's place. You are supposed to be quiet. Even when you are having sex, you are supposed to be quiet. You are not supposed to make noise.
Hey,
if you make noise, what say? And even if you are enjoying it, it was all this show because
Doctor, hold on. What this is?
Hold on.
So, like, you mean to tell me that in this society, like in our culture, like when we're having sex, you're not supposed to be expressive? You're not supposed to moan when it feels good?
I think it used to be like that. It's not like that anymore.
Well, it is changing.
Yeah.
So that brings me to one point. One of the reasons why it is a difficult thing to talk about is because there are different generations.
Right.
And people have different views.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm a millennial. I think I'm older than most of you, but because of my exposure, I can relate to you in a lot of ways when it comes to sex. But you may have other people in other generations and they will not see eye to eye with you because they are just not where you are. Well, that's another way to put it.
Like, relating to that part.
Yes,
relating to that part.
Yes, of course. And so these are a few of the reasons why it's really difficult to talk about.
When
sex.
you were speaking, you mentioned something about a previous life. What's a previous life? You a previous life and a new life.
In the pre conversation.
Yes. Oh, but you even mentioned on air.
Okay.
Yes. Your experiences in your previous life and in your new life.
Yes.
Would you like to elaborate on that, or you don't want to? Like, what is the difference in your previous life and your new life?
Okay, so in my previous life, I grew up as a church girl, that kind of thing. So you don't talk about sex much. You're supposed to wait until marriage, and there are good sides to it, but there are a lot of bad sides too. Because apart from keeping yourself till marriage, you don't learn anything about sex. Everything is wait till you are there, and even when you are there, who is going to tell you about it? You go to counseling, and when it's sex, they brush it quickly because probably the person teaching you about sex has not had an orgasm before. So how is she going to explain to you? Probably. How is she going to explain it
but if
to
you're
you?
a virgin, right, and you've never had sex before, it's only when you start to have sex that you know. It's only what you know is what you know. So, like, if I'm a virgin, I've never had sex, I don't know that sex is supposed to be this amazing feeling.
No, but somebody's supposed to tell you. You should know.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, if I'm a virgin, let's say, for instance, I am a church girl, and you all know that I'm not. But let's say, for instance, I'm a church girl. I've never had sex. I'm a virgin. I'm getting married. Okay. And now I'm going to have sex with my husband. Isn't my experience, my first experience, going to be my only experience and my only understanding of what sex is supposed to be?
You are right and you are wrong. Let me explain.
Okay.
You are right because, yes, your husband or whoever you are with, that's the only experience you have. You don't know any better.
If it's right or wrong.
Yes, so you just take it as it is. And that is why a lot of people are stuck in bad relationships because they don't have anything to compare it with. And it is really terrible sex, but that is all they know.
What is terrible sex?
Well,
what is, no, wait, let's get there because we already started.
Well, because at the end of the day, what is sex if you are not getting an orgasm out of it? When you are not feeling good and climbing to the second, third, fourth, and fifth heavens?
Well, how do you know you've gotten there?
Hey, I was going to ask
my sister.
What is orgasm? First of all, what is orgasm?
What do you think it is?
Orgasm is that part where you feel like you have about to fly.
Hey!
Like in cloud nine. Am I right?
You are right, but you see, the thing about orgasm is like labor pains. People will try and describe it for you. People would paint pictures, sing songs about it, write books, act movies about it, but you need to get there to understand it. And when you are there, nobody tells you that this is it.
So how do you get there?
Oh, you have sex the right way with the right person.
Okay, how do you have sex the right way?
Oh, it's... Okay, so there's no right or wrong way to have sex.
Okay.
Really?
No.
Okay.
People are very different in the way they approach sex.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, you should be able to know what feels good to you,
Yes.
what sends you off the cliff to the other side. Your partner should be able to do it for you so that you get there, and vice versa. And sex is like, it's a relationship. It's like marriage, any kind of relationship. It's a give and take, okay? So when I'm having sex, my job is to make sure that my partner is getting an orgasm, and his job is to make sure that I'm also getting an orgasm. But in a society that we have grown up in, we were taught that it is just for the man to come, and you are just an
The
audience.
come giver. You are the come giver.
Yeah, you are an audience, and you lie down, come and crucify me. And that is why most people know missionary. You just need to lie down and let the man hump away and then have his orgasm. But that is not what
And
it
missionary
is.
could be so boring. Like, there's so many different styles.
Oh, yes, of course. It can be fun too.
Yeah, it can. But okay. So now, I hope that you guys are 18 years old and above who are watching this, because we're talking about sex, and even I feel like even the young ones, because honestly, sex education is not being given.
No,
so we
it's
are
not.
giving you the sex education. We're gonna also talk about this whole sex education in school and whatnot. But okay, so you said that there's no right or wrong way to have sex. Everybody's body is different. Okay, so then as a man who has met a woman, you guys have been dating, and now it's time to have sex. How does a man approach sex the right way?
Yes. So you see, before you even start having sex, and I was going to make that point earlier, that we tell people not to have sex when you are a church girl, for example. It doesn't mean that you should not learn about sex.
Okay.
And for me, when I married and sex was a new experience, although I hadn't had an orgasm before, I had seen it in movies. I've seen people talk about
Hey, what movies
it.
were you watching?
Blue film. Sweetheart.
What's your porno?
Blue film.
That's your porno.
So I have a
Like-
fair idea what it was supposed to look like.
Because of the movies you watched
Yes,
and stuff.
the
Okay.
little exposure I've had. And for a long time, I'm like, can this be it? This can't be it. It's different from
What you're doing,
Yeah.
what you're experiencing.
And it took me a really long while to convince myself, because there was nothing to compare to.
Wow.
And so you keep just hanging in there, enjoying the bad sex, because you don't have anything to compare with. And that is one of the disadvantages of being chaste until marriage. If you are not with somebody who is open-minded, adventurous, and ready to learn and be crazy with you, you end up just stuck there and just be somebody who is producing babies and giving your husband pleasure, which is not it. We are equal stakeholders. And I even believe that for women, we have the capacity to enjoy sex more.
Oh, yes.
Yes, because when a man comes, he needs to go back to factory settings and take some time before he can come back again. But for me, I have no limitations. As a woman, you can have orgasm several times in a row. You don't need any resets. You can just keep going. And I believe that if you have good sex as a woman, the score sheet should always be you higher than the man. And
The score sheet to be what?
You have to be higher than the man.
Like, you have to have more, like,
More orgasms.
so if I enjoy more than the man.
Oh, yes.
But in our society, or even most societies, sex is seen that it's only the man who's supposed to enjoy it. We're supposed to be pleasing just the man. So, Doc, you mentioned that you were a virgin before you got married, and then you had sex, and then it wasn't the greatest of sex because of what you had seen. What you were seeing is not what was happening to you. So does that mean that you believe in the notion of the have an experience before you get married?
I think it's a very individual thing, and there's no straight answer to this question, because there are people who were virgins when they met their life partners and have gone on to grow together and have the best of sex. So it is not really about you and the experience you had or did not have, as much as it is about the person you are with and how willing they are to grow with you and to explore together. And more importantly, if you have have the same value system as the person you are marrying. It helps because if you are both virgins, you are starting from the same level and learning together. But the problem is, if you are a virgin and your partner is not, they have had all kinds of experiences, wild styles, and then here you come and you are green and you don't know anything. And even for people like that, it's a mismatch.
Yeah.
And it takes them a really long time, if ever, to bring you to that tempo. And that is a problem. And so for me, if you want to remain a virgin until you get married, that is all right. That is your choice. But make sure that you are going into the relationship with somebody with a similar value system. Otherwise, you'll be disadvantaged and you may never catch up.
But then that's why communication is also very important.
Of course.
In these kind of instances. Like, I remember I was dating someone. This is like, I was like maybe 20, and I really liked the person, okay? But I was not enjoying the sex that we had. And many times, like, I want to say, but mistrusting me because I didn't want to hurt his ego. I didn't want to hurt his feelings. But it got to a point where I was like, I told him, I said, babes, honestly, I don't, it hurts when we have sex. I'm not enjoying it. And I told him to, foreplay. A lot of men, I feel like a lot of Ghanaian men or in our society, they don't do foreplay. Foreplay is the most exciting part of sex before you get to the real deal.
Oh yeah, it is.
It is. But a lot of men, they don't do foreplay, and it's very painful.
Why would you not do foreplay? That is like punishment.
They want to just room. Some guy told me some person warming or person warm.
I mean, there's a place eventually for a man. The truth is that a lot of men, when they are doing foreplay, it is not for them. It is for the woman. But it is necessary that every man understands that it is an important part of the sex.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you need to warm your woman up bring her to that point.
Yes.
And it is even more important for a lot. This will shock you. A lot of women have orgasm even before penetrative sex.
Foreplay alone can give you an orgasm.
Most women would have an orgasm just with foreplay. And when, one criteria I would give for great sex is when you are with somebody who is interested in you coming to an orgasm. It's not just about them coming.
So that means there needs to be an emotional attachment to the person. Because because the person has to care about you.
Of course.
So but some people
unless it's just transactional sex, you just want to, pam, 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 and then go.
But I want to even transactional sex, how does a woman even get wet?
Well,
because they know it's because
if you when it comes to that, I don't think they really pay attention to whether you're wet or not.
So it's just about coming.
Yeah.
Even if
they're probably like paying you or something. So
even if the coochie is dry,
they
how
don't
you
care about you? That's the thing.
They don't really care.
I think with that one, it stems from the mind. Example, if a woman has made her mind that what the sex she's having is transactional, she knows what she's about. She knows what's
or maybe
what's
she might get drunk or take a pill or something
or
to
maybe taking drugs that are going to maybe make her libido rise. So she just opens the legs.
Most people are just fuck me and go. Just give me the money, and it's a mind. They've trained their mind that way. That this is just a job I'm doing. But for any kind of regular sex where you are in a relationship with a person, you should be willing to bring your partner to orgasm.
Yes.
And when a man sucks a woman's breast or does any of these things we love that bring us to orgasm, it is not really pleasure for the man, but because he loves you and wants to make sure that you have your orgasm. And if you are with a man, women, listen, if you are with a man who is not interested in bringing you to orgasm, you are probably in the wrong place. You should talk to your man. Let him understand that, look, I need to get my fair share of this cake. And let your man help you. He has to find ways. You help him, he helps you.
Yes. Okay.
But if I want to have orgasm by myself, why would I be with you? There are women who masturbate, right? And they come to, but I want to do it with you.
Yes.
And so help me to get to orgasm. Then when I get there, you can go in, or let's have it together.
Ooh.
You need to study your woman's body, know what brings her to orgasm, explore her body, touch her in places nobody has touched her before. You are the one who will help her to know where she tickles.
Hey, stop.
And
bro,
where
shut
you
up.
touch
I'm
for her
learning so much
juices
today.
to flow.
Juices to flow. Yeah, I like that.
She was asking something when she's gonna.
She was, yeah.
Yeah, so when you spoke about the first time you spoke. 1 second, I'm coming. Sorry.
Easy.
I don't. The viewers will say that if you're enjoying this, I am, motherfucker.
Okay, so I think you mentioned that if you're in a relationship where your man is not bringing you to orgasm, it's not a good thing. You know, what if the guy doesn't really know about orgasm for women, right? Maybe he knows. I think it's easier for men to come, actually.
Of course.
But what about the woman? What if he doesn't really know about the woman's body? He doesn't know what to do. Like, because you can't just assume that, okay, he knows and he's not doing it.
Yes.
There are men who actually do not know anything
and maybe
about
the woman
women
herself
coming.
doesn't even know. What if they both don't know?
Good. When you were born, did you know how to walk?
No.
When you were born, did you know how to speak English?
No.
I am of the personal view that every skill under the sun is learned.
Okay.
And once you are ready and willing, you can learn that skill. Everybody has the capacity to learn how to have great sex and to have great sex. The only limitation is if the person you are with is not ready to learn with you. That is because it takes two. And even for that one, you have the choice to change him or her. But we should all be in that place where we are willing to learn.
It's
There's
true.
everything. Right now, we have the internet, if not for anything at all. You don't need to ask your mama. You don't need to ask your papa. Just go online and learn how to have good sex. A lot of the things I know today, I read, I learned, I looked it up. Nobody taught me. My mother never spoke to me about sex. I learned it. Anything that you want to learn, including sex, you learn it and you'd figure it out.
Doctor, please, why is it that when a woman is curious about sex and how to get an orgasm or how to please a man, she's labeled as kolabone or she's bad, not drink say. But if a man is doing it, he's liberated or he's supposed to. Why do we have that kind of double standard in our society, or in every society actually?
Yeah, in most societies, like I mentioned before, it's been a man's world. It's been the men who call the shots from generations immemorial, but things are changing, but it is still very much the same, where it is a man's world. It is a man who is supposed to be vocal. Even when it comes to cheating, it is excused. That is how men are made. But it is because men make the rules. And when you make the rules, you would always make the rules in your favor.
To benefit you, yeah.
That is what has happened. And for us to change things, those of us who would be at the forefront of change, maybe they'll call us vagabonds or rebellious or whatever, but there is no change that comes easy. It may come with a bit of struggle and name tag, people will tag you and all that. But once you believe change that is worth having, you push for it. And all these things that we have in our society, the stereotypes, it is people who have made them up.
Yes.
It is people who have made them up, and people have come after those who made them up, and we have not questioned it. We have just followed it, and it has remained so. But it does not have to remain so. Because right now, I know that when I go into bed with my man, he's entitled to an orgasm, and I'm also entitled to one. And so he makes sure I get my 2 points. I make sure he gets his 2 points. And it is very fair. And you know what? Generally in life, there isn't a lot of fairness out there for you.
Yeah.
So the least you can do for yourself is to make sure that you are being fair to you. And orgasm is one of the fairest things you can give to yourself.
Dog, is masturbation a sin? Like a really big sin? Or it's normal?
This is a very big question.
And not just her question. After you answer that question, is it healthy to regularly masturbate? Male and female, but answer her.
And if it is, how regularly should you masturbate?
Well, answer if it's a sin or not, or whatever. What's a sin, first of all?
Well, did the Bible mention masturbation?
Yes, it does. Well,
Where?
yes.
Where?
I would want a reference.
Does the Bible
and what
mention
exactly?
Does the Bible mention
Google it?
masturbation?
Yes, of course you can.
Well, it's something you do against yourself, because basically, you are the spiritual world. The religious people will say that, oh, di bonia ama to yourself.
Okay. So
Me, I don't believe in
it
that.
says here that the Bible doesn't mention or define masturbation as a sin. While some passages are interpreted as condemning it, others disagree, and there's no clear consensus within theological interpretations. The most common passage linked to this topic is in the story of Onan in Genesis 38, where he was punished for spilling his seed. But this is interpreted by some as referring to a different practice, coitus
Interruptus.
yes, rather than masturbation.
Yes.
Spilling seed, maybe him ejaculating.
Yes, no. So what it means is, normally when you have sex with a woman, you ejaculate into her vagina.
Okay.
But sometimes if
pull
you
out.
don't, you don't want to get her pregnant, you want to pull out. And it's coitus interruptus. So this passage in the Bible, we were not there. So we cannot tell for sure
What
if
it really
it was
means.
masturbation or if he was doing coitus interruptus. But for me personally, when it comes to some of these topics, I prefer not to take a stance and allow people to decide for themselves what is good for them. When it comes to sex, if you don't take care, you'll be very easily swayed into being judgmental.
Yeah.
I am not a judge. I speak the facts as they are and allow people to decide what is good for them. I am a church girl. I grew up in church, but also it is not everything we hear that is really the truth. We are all seeing in part, and everybody is explaining the scripture per their understanding. I cannot tell for sure if what I have heard from A or B or C is really what it is.
Yeah.
And so I prefer not to make comments about some of these things. I have my personal convictions.
So
Do you
it's
think-
hey, sister, a masturbation as a masturbation. No, ebi mu ye wa hano.
Because I want to know.
Mami
you know,
nye.
what they call- when
Hey,
you're
nah,
not-
You want to
something.
know whether you can do it or not.
No, I want to know
Like,
if it's healthy. Is it healthy
Yes, you
for
want to know.
people to masturbate? And if it is, how regularly should people masturbate?
It's like asking how regularly. Wait, first of all, I want to ask a question. Why would people masturbate? Is it that we don't have enough men and women?
Oh,
in
Some
the
of us, we are
system?
not ready to date. Some of us,
Right,
we don't have boyfriends.
maybe we don't have. Maybe we're not in a relationship. Like me, like I'm not in a relationship. I'm not in
Are
a,
you sure?
I'm deodorant. I'm not sure. Some people are they're just abstaining from having sex or just dealing with the guy. Or even some guys just don't want to deal with any woman right now. And sometimes they get horny, Like me, right after I'm done menstruating, like, I'm sorry, being so explicit, I get very horny, and I don't want to deal with the guy. So,
You have to resolve
back in the
it.
day, I don't masturbate anymore because I like being touched and kissed and stuff.
Yeah, I was coming to that because for me, one of the good things about sex is doing it with a real life human
person,
being,
right.
warm, nice, warm
Yes,
kisses. You can
kisses.
feel the
you know
dick.
that, you know that sometimes to sex is more spiritual.
It definitely
than
is.
it is of physical, and you're going to have sex with somebody now. You're going to intertwine, and it's going.
But let's
to
finish the
be
masturbation part first. Is the masturbation, is it, per your knowledge, is it healthy to masturbate?
Well, what I do know, and I have seen it in a few people who masturbate, is that it's never like the real thing. I don't know if anybody, especially the gentlemen, I don't know if anybody would ever admit to it, but it is kind of different. And for some guys that I've spoken to, they tell me that after masturbation, they feel tired. It's not the same tiredness like when you do it with a
actual
woman.
thing.
It's an uncomfortable kind of tiredness. And a lot of them report that all through the day, and all, it may not be the same for everybody, but some people have reported that. And so I think that is the major complaint from real people that I have had about masturbation. But there are also people who masturbate and they are doing
okay.
just fine. But my concern is, if you need that kind of sexual gratification, then find the real deal, because there's nothing like the real thing.
Yeah, but there are instances where, there are some people who they're not lucky with women or lucky with men.
I don't believe in that.
Oh, there are some people who don't even know how to approach a woman. Yeah, there are some men who are just like, I'm timid, I'm
No, you have to learn it.
But what I'm saying is there are some people who only resort to just masturbating or even sex dolls. That's why we have sex dolls nowadays. They find it hard to talk to a woman or a man, but most of the time it's the guys. They find it hard to talk to a woman, relating to a woman, approaching a woman. Some of them are insecure. Maybe so many factors. Some of them have very, 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 very small penises, and maybe they're insecure about the size of their penis. So some of them have very, very, like micro penises. There are some men who have micro penises, and because they're insecure about the size of their penis, because women are always talking about size matters. I've said it before, but I take it back. Anyway, so yeah, some men who resort to masturbating or even using sex dolls.
I still maintain the view that no matter the kind of man or woman you are,
there's
somebody out there
for you.
It may take a little longer to find that person, but there's nobody who is such that onya nesoba anansa nesobema. And the other thing is that sometimes love or the person that would complete you will not drop down from the skies.
Yeah.
Everything about life is effort.
Yeah.
You may need to put in the effort. Otherwise, you would settle for less than best.
Yeah.
And why would you want to settle for less than best when you can have the best?
Yeah.
So it is all about attitude and what we think we deserve or what matters to us. I have told myself that whenever possible, if I can, I want the best. And that is what I'll strive for. If somebody believes that the best for them is to abstain or not have a real life juicy warm pussy, but rather do this one, it is a choice for them. But for me, I'm sure if I was a man, oh my God, why would I want to masturbate when I can have a loving, warm woman, soft to touch? Sometimes just looking as a man or woman, just that person, and he's all for me, she's all for me. There's nothing like the human connection.
Ajo was asking a question about the spirituality aspect of sex, right? Please elaborate on your question.
So, sex is more of like a connection, you know? It might look like, oh, wow, we are just doing some one-time thing, some sneaky link thing, but you go home, you start thinking of the person. There are perfumes on your fingers. You are recollecting, you also feel for them the next time, right? So it's not just
physical,
the entry
physical,
or the penetration. No, it's a lot of things.
Can I ask you something?
Ask me, please.
Is it everybody you've had sex with that you have felt that way about?
Yes.
Then you are very lucky. No, really, because I know men who have had sex, or even women with certain people, and they don't want to even remember it.
Is it because it was bad? It was bad sex?
Yes, it was bad for many different reasons. Men have a lot of different reasons why they will call sex bad. The woman may be the most beautiful, the most articulate, but I will quote him or say, a trebi or how would decry now we know.
Who said that?
You wouldn't want to know.
I want to know.
No, but haven't you heard?
No, but I've heard that. Yeah. I've heard from.
I'm sure there are men online who be giving me thumbs up. Like, and it's the same for women. Ben maybe we call them. You don't even want to remember. You don't want it in your memory. You want it to be taken out.
So okay, so and men meet me because like the sex they had and Yakra. Is it because maybe sometimes it could be the scent of the woman?
There are a lot of reasons, and I think that if we get one very vocal man here one of these days, he would. In fact, the other time I watched. Okay,
Adam, come.
Adam, please come.
Adam, come. Adam is in the studio. Come and tell us your experiences.
Please come.
The other time I was watching this video on TikTok. I'm not sure I can remember everything, but this man was talking about pekus, the Nigerian slang for vagina. Okay. And he was saying that no two vaginas are the same.
Yes.
And the only thing better than a good pekus is a new pekus. And he went on to explain the different kinds of pekus. He said there are some that are very dry, some are that are very juicy, some that are tight, some that are loose. And he gave like different. I'm like, oh my God, this man has been around a lot. He knows everything. But there are all kinds of pussies. Sometimes it's not even about the pussy. It's about the smell, like you mentioned. It's about the person's personality. For some men, maybe in the beginning they are horny, so they just want to release. But after they've been with you for 2 episodes, 3 episodes, now the conversation is still. They can't hold a decent conversation with you.
Yeah.
And now they are no longer horny. They are looking for a deeper level of commitment.
Right.
And you are not capable of meeting them at that level.
Right.
And so they just leave.
True.
But when let's talk about dry vagina for a second, right? There are many factors that can lead for a woman to have dry vagina. Some can be smoking. I remember when I used to smoke. Oh my God, I'm putting myself out there again. What was I smoking? Shisha.
Well, we'll take it.
Yes. And when I used to smoke, I felt the difference in my vagina. Like I wasn't. Me, I'm a waterfall. You know what Cardi B said in her song? That's me. But then when I was smoking...
I'm imagining a lot of things right now.
Oh, it's Dr. Imagine, child. But when I started like smoking hookah, shisha, I would get dry. And then when I stopped, I noticed that my I went back to factory settings. So smoking can be a factor as to why some people get dry. Sometimes birth control can cause you to be very
certain
dry.
Medications,
certain medications.
Even your diet.
Yes. Yes.
Sometimes even stress levels. A lot of things affect the vagina. And for everyone out there listening to me, there are a lot of reasons to drink a lot of water. And your pussy or vaginal health is one of them. Drink a lot of water. And then watch what you eat. There are some things that are very pungent. You eat it, that smell is transmitted down there.
Like what? What foods can transmit
for example, garlic has a very strong smell. And if you eat a diet that is very high in garlic, it changes the smell you have down there. But that said, we are all very different.
Yes.
And so every woman needs to study their body and know what works well for them and what doesn't. But one thing you can never go wrong with is water and a lot of fruits, particularly pineapple.
Pineapples. I was going to get into the pineapple. So it's true that pineapples makes your coochie like sweet? So pineapple changes the taste of your coochie?
Well, we'll ask the men, but that is what I've heard. So I'm eating all the pineapple I can lay my hands on.
And yogurt and pineapple.
Yes.
Okay, so oh God, I had a question.
Try and remember.
Okay, let me ask you.
Oh, I got it. Please. So you see, they have these people selling things for the pussy to get wet and the pussy to be sweet. Do those medications work? Kaya mata, what do you call those things? Kaya mata, yes. They're always selling those things online, libido boosters. Do those things work?
That will make you
or everything is really about the mind?
Well, I have a friend. I have a few friends who have used some of those products. I remember someone was using the toffee, and she admitted that it made her get a little more wet down there. But for me, I believe strongly that first of all, your mind is your biggest sex organ, and if you are right up there in terms of psychology and love and everything, you are good to go. When you are in the right place, when your man touches you, and it's the same for the men as well, it doesn't take long to bring you to that point.
Yeah.
And I don't know if any of you women will admit, for me, when I'm not psychologically at that place, when there's something that is really bothering me, you can jeer all the styles in the world. It just will not work.
Yeah.
You may probably have to use a lubricant.
Yeah.
And it is normal. And that is one of the reasons why in society we think that women have lower libido. It is true. Testosterone is the hormone that regulates or directly correlates to a man's or a woman's sexuality. And men have more testosterone by default because they are men. So their sexual appetite is higher. Women also have testosterone at a lower level. But I believe that is not the only reason why women have lower libido. We are more emotional and we get more affected by our environment. And when a woman is not well up there psychologically, you can do all the magic. It's just will not fly.
Okay, so we're still on a conversation of sex. Sex is something that we don't really talk much about publicly. Well, the females, most men engage in these conversations, but women, we don't really talk about it. And not just that, I feel like a lot of parents don't talk about sex with their children. So the children get the education on the streets, and most of the time they're led astray. You know, and a lot of negative things happen. Why is it important for parents to have these conversations, especially like, you know, sex and stuff? Why is it important to have these conversations with your children? Because when I lost my virginity, I didn't even know what being a virgin was. And I was in the States then, you know?
Wow.
Yes. It's not until, you know, being in high school and then learning about sex and stuff, but I didn't even know what being a virgin is. And even when I lost my virginity, I didn't even know I was losing my virginity. And a lot of females have lost their virginities not knowing how precious it was. Some of them have been raped, you know, many other factors. But I want you to stress on the importance of parents having these difficult conversations with their children.
Thank you very much. And as you are saying it, I'm like, oh my God, I have teenagers, and we should be talking more often about sex.
Yeah.
We do talk about it, but I think it is not enough. Even for me, who talks a lot about sex, it's stemmed largely from our society. Like we said earlier, we don't talk about sex often. And so you don't talk about it with another adult, talk less of a child, somebody that you birthed. But it is so important because there are a lot of dangers when it comes to sex, things that people should know about, like STIs, infections. Some of the infections, you may not even know you have that infection.
Asymptomatic.
You know, and somebody would give it to you and you go through life, and later on, then you have the effect. So you need to teach your children. We all do. Because if you don't, somebody will.
Yeah.
And the person may not tell them the right thing.
Yeah.
The person may not tell them the right thing. So teach your children about sex. Tell them everything they need to know. You think that they are too young, but it will shock you.
Honestly.
What your children know. I have an 8-year-old, and sometimes I'm amazed at the kind of things that she knows.
Yeah.
And so don't pretend that your children don't know about it.
Yeah.
And yes, some of them are having it. You would never know.
I'm sorry, continue.
And just 2 days ago, my son was telling me that something happened in school. I'm like, oh, what happened? He said, oh, they found a love letter. And this is a 12-year-old. And he said, one of my mates wrote a love letter to a guy in the class, and they came to read it as assembly for all of us, you know. And I can only imagine how
embarrassing
that girl and that boy, they are feeling. And I asked my son, tell me what was in the letter. And I'm like, oh, I need those vibes. I want to be writing love letters to my husband. Give me the details. I wanted him to understand that it's okay. Not a shameful thing.
To talk about it.
Yes, it's okay to talk about it. And he said, the lady said, when I see you, my heart goes meow, meow. And I'm like, yeah. So we really need to tell our children about sex. If you don't, they'll misinform them. Somebody can take advantage of them.
Yes.
Doc, sorry. Do you think porn is some kind of sex education indirectly?
Oh, I haven't watched a lot of porn, but the kakra feministono, I think it is not a very realistic. It really doesn't have. It's just about the act, but sex is more than the act.
Okay.
And so it is not.
But
it is not.
Okay.
Oh,
I asked that question because we find most pupils or students, sometimes on their phone watching porn and those kind of things.
It's true, because even recently they said that Ghana was a place with the people who watch the most porn. I think it was on the web last year. We were ranked as the highest people who watch porn and whatnot.
And I wish I had the demographics of those who are watching.
More I cry here. Back to the sex education. Before Rosie, you asked a question. I get kind of confused because our parents act like they weren't having sex at young ages. At the age of 12, 13, 14 is when, kids start to understand the feelings and emotions that they see. Even 8-year-olds, they could see a guy or a girl they like and they're blushing. They start getting those feelings at a very young age. So if they're not being led the right way and the conversation's not being had, like Rosie said, they'll be led astray. A stranger will teach them, and even teaching your kids as young as 8 that if somebody touches you this way, it's wrong.
Very, very important.
If somebody touches you that way, it's wrong. There are a lot of cases where children are being molested and it's not being talked about. Pedophilia is very high in Africa and is not being talked about. These are things that are very, very important. It can save people's lives, but it's not being talked about because it's not our culture.
So it starts with us. Like I said, sometimes we need to lead change. People will not do it because they don't know any better. When they were growing up, they didn't have it and they haven't exposed themselves enough. And even for grown-ups, we pretend a lot. A lot of people in Ghana pretend that they are not having sex.
Yes.
They pretend, even when they are couple in a bedroom, the woman is pretending the style she can do, but when you say Papa never can say what say
or something,
So she has all this experience that she could have brought into the bedroom to make it lit, but she's just lying there
to make it what? Lit. To make it lit. Clock it, doctor.
No, but she's lying there and she's trying really hard not to show the man what she's made
pretending.
Of. We are so skilled at pretending, but I really wish that would drop the pretense because we are all having the sex.
Yes.
Some people have experiences and bring the experience to the table. Let it matter.
Yes.
There are some men, they have some skills, but on him say, maybe he's married to you. He didn't discover it with you. Maybe new skills. So he knows that when he brings it into the bedroom, you start questioning him. And so he will pretend that he doesn't know, and then you give you the normal sex. But men have fantasies about sex. Women to a lesser extent, but men have crazy fantasies. And I want to encourage women to engage their men. We need to talk about sex. The things that men have a very dirty mind. And most of the time they are thinking about sex. And a lot of men are never getting enough sex. Those who are married or in committed relationship, 99% of men, the sex they are getting, they wish they had more. But they are not saying it because and it is just how the society has been programmed. We have to drop the pretense. Let our children know that we are having sex. This is what it is. Mommy and daddy, we do it. It is nice. It is sweet. That is how we did it and we had you. When you are old enough, you can also have sex. This is what is good about it. This is how you prepare for it. This is how you make sure that people don't take advantage of you. You decide if you want to have sex. It is not something that somebody gives you a candy and then you give away. Children need to understand that their bodies are precious and it cannot be bought with candy or trivial things.
Or even pad or Indomie.
Yeah.
Or even TV.
Yes.
Very, very, very outrageous things that children trade sex for.
Yeah. Not even just children, even adults, but those are adults, but children are children.
And it's very heartbreaking and we need to break the cycle.
Okay. Doc, so would you say that a part of the reason why most men cheat is because they are not able to explore their sexual fantasies with the women they are with?
This is a very big one. I honestly believe that cheating is a choice. It is a choice, whether it is the man or it is the woman.
Thank you.
It is a choice. There are a lot of men who are cheating and they've never even bothered to express to their women what they want that they are not getting. So if you've not had that conversation with your wife or girlfriend and made her understand that this is the way I want it, this is how I like it, do me like this, that me say, give me a blowjob, and then you go out cheating, how is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Doc.
understand
So
the
what if, like, say you probably tell your partner, okay, this is how I want it, this is when I want it, this is how I want us to do it, and then the person gives you like a negative energy, like the person doesn't want to do that with you. What do you think? Don't you think that is also a reason why they would probably want to go out, because you're not willing to give in and someone else is willing to do that?
Thank you. You are right. But even before I answered that, this question highlights one of the points we spoke about when it comes to our value system.
Right.
Because if you are a virgin or you are not sexually exposed and you get married to somebody who is sexually exposed, either you are ready to learn along and get to that person's level, or it is going to be a problem. And it is an example of being unequally yoked. Into warrior, you need to make sure that this person and me, we are on the same page. You need to talk about sex. How do you marry without talking about sex, without talking about your expectations, what your preferences are? Even if you haven't had sex before, you have the liberty to find out, oh, there's this thing called blowjob. Me, I want to try it. I want to try being licked. Talk about these are conversations that must be had, even for people who are in church.
Because they talk about financial things. They talk
What
about
else? You want to talk about
everything
sex?
else.
Sex and money.
What's your best?
Yes.
What's your favorite color?
So I want you to explain to us.
Yeah.
So I want you to explain to us when it comes to value in pairing.
Yes. So thank you. You see, there are lots of values.
Okay.
And surprisingly, some things that you would find as a value, somebody would not find as a value.
Yep.
And I remember one of my latest messages I put on TikTok. I was like, you can be married to a man and not cook, and that man would not have a problem with it.
Yes.
Somebody even came and put there that me, I don't know how to cook.
Yes. Yeah.
You see, value system is what you think is important. That is the simplest way to put it.
Yeah.
And so there's a man who thinks that he wants a woman who is great in bed, or a woman who is intellectual, or nimadi, a woman who is business-minded, a woman who is motherly, a woman who can cook. And there are different values, and men and women come in different permutations and combinations. There's a woman who is okay with a man who has a lot of money. If he has a small penis, she doesn't mind. She just wants somebody with a lot of money so that she can be your wife and wear designer and fly around. Everybody has what they think is important. And your value system is different from mine. It doesn't make you better than me. It is just your preference.
Exactly.
And so when you are going to marry or hook up with somebody for life or for any length of time, these conversations must be had, including your value system around sex. Because there's a man who would be like, oh my God, I can never go down on a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you are there, and it is one of the things that
you
saves
really
you.
If you were licking it, you ain't sticking it.
There are women who want their plates licked. And there's a man who would say that I would not do
never.
it,
Yeah.
even if my life depended on it. So if you don't have that conversation,
Is true.
and then you hook up or you get married, what happens? And so we should make sure that we are asking the right questions. We are talking, sex is one of the conversations that must be had. And I dare say here, it's my opinion, it's a very dangerous ground to tread on. But if possible, I will say, test it and decide that this one, I can manage it for the rest of my life.
What's test it? Idea.
You have to test it.
But then there are some people
Because
who
in
don't believe.
church, you are supposed not to do it.
Right.
And that is
marriage.
how I grew up, and that is what I have known all my life. But sex is such an important matter Before you get to that point, when you start a relationship, you are just in the talking stage. You are deciding if this person is a good fit for you and all right.
Yeah.
By the time you get to that place where you're going to see parents, you are sure that you are almost there. And so at that point, some of these things must be talked about. And if possible, so much, see whether the thing, you see, sex is not... when you go to buy clothes, I don't know about Ghana, but outside, even with the same designer, there are different sizes.
Yes.
I may be a size 14, but for a particular designer, 14 doesn't
It's
fit.
too small or too big.
So I need to go to 16. And if it is that cumbersome with clothes, talk about sex. And sex is there are pastors' wives, people in church who are suffering. They are suffering, no. But because we've created this stereotype, people are not able to come out and talk about it.
That's true.
And there are people in marriages for 6 months, for 3 months, for 1 year. I mean, how can you be in a marriage and not have sex? But it is happening because of some of these issues. And people are not happy.
I think everything boils down to the conversation.
Yes.
If you're in a marriage and your partner, you guys are not having sex, so the conversation has to have had. So once the conversation happens and you understand, okay, this is the problem. This is what I'm having, my issue with you. I don't enjoy having sex with you. So I'm not happy in the house. So I feel like everything boils down with conversation. Even with people who are virgins and they're now coming to get married, the conversation of sex needs to be had because the emotional factor is already there. That's why we're getting married. I love you. You love me. Now, when it comes to the sex part, let's talk about it. What do you like? What don't you like? If I kiss you here, do you like? I think everything boils down to the conversation. And most of us, we weren't grown. We weren't in a house world where you're able to talk and express yourself. And that is the main problem that starts with our culture, with our peoples. You're not allowed to express yourself as a child. True. And you grow up as an adult not being able to express yourself. You keep everything inside. Yes. So everything starts from, as a childhood,
how we are raised, how we are socialized.
We have to let our children express themselves and express themselves in the right way. There's wrong and right ways of expressing yourself without being judged. And I think that's one of our main problems in our culture is that we don't allow people to express themselves. So they keep everything bottled up inside. So now they're walking around angry. Even if you,
a lot of people are walking around angry.
I think that's the reason why. Sorry, sometimes you see that, okay, some people are like very cool, like couples, they're very cool, everything is fine until there's a fight.
Yes.
Maybe about food or a drink. And then the woman or the man like just goes off and is talking about sex and is talking about like very, very strange
something
things.
else.
Like,
but it was a drink, even out of form.
It's like
but he kept it inside.
Yes, sexual frustration
for so long, and then okay, you got the opportunity to talk. So you're saying things, and now your partner is like, "What?
You had all this inside of you?
The problem, just please talk. No one is going to beat you. Even if they beat you, you survive. Talk.
Don't beat anybody, please.
Talk. Just say what the problem is.
Overemphasize communication. It is the bedrock, and when it comes to communication, it's so important the person you are communicating with, because if I'm ready to talk about how I feel and what I need, the person listening to me should be willing to understand, hear me out. But sometimes you talk and the person doesn't even give a shit what you are talking about. Thoughtless of trying to make changes. And the key thing for everybody in love, if I'm not even in love, for us as human beings, wanting to live for other people, to express love, because that is our ultimate purpose, to love and to express love. You should love people, if you're not, you should love people on their terms. If you say that you love me on my terms.
The way I want to be loved.
The way I want to be loved. The way you want to love me may not be the way I want to be loved.
Love languages. We don't talk about love languages in this country at all.
I think it is misunderstood, actually. Because if I ask you, okay, what's your love language? And then you tell me, and then I also tell you yours. Some people assume that, okay, because, mine is maybe probably cooking. it's okay for me to cook for you and you would feel loved. No,
Yeah, no.
if I tell you mine, it is how I want to be loved.
Yes.
Do you understand? If you
Yes.
like to be cooked for, you like to cook for your partner, that's okay.
Yeah.
But love me in my language.
Exactly.
Listen
Yes.
to your partners. Listen. Don't just sit there and hear them.
Yeah.
Listen and take notes. Okay.
The way you show people that you really love them is when you are willing to do for them
Honestly.
what they want you to do for them.
Yeah.
If you are loving people based on how you think they should be loved, that is not love.
Yeah.
That is not love.
I wanted to ask a question about sex during like a woman's period. Okay. What do you think about it? Because some people actually like to like have sex during their periods. Some people actually even give women head during their periods.
What?
Yes.
I'm
There are
sorry.
people like that.
Wait, you mean like while a woman is menstruating?
Yes.
They're giving her head.
Yes.
Yeah, people do
There are
that.
people like that, Efia.
Are there any health negative health complications?
Don't you eat steak? That is rare.
No, me, I eat well done.
Well, you see, that is you. Some people eat.
You like it well done.
This is
Others
not
like
steak.
it raw.
This is a check.
and people like their extra in different flavors.
Doctor, no, but wait. Menstruating isn't it dirty? A woman going through her cleansing stage where dirty blood is coming out.
No. Let me explain something to you. The blood that comes out during menses is not dirty blood.
What is it then?
Okay, so normally every month a woman's womb prepares for a baby. Every month it assumes that there's going to be a baby. So it prepares for it. How does it prepare? The blood vessels in the lining of the womb, they become very engorged and thick and filled with blood, very juicy, waiting for the baby. So after a couple of days, they realize that,
There's no baby
it's
coming.
not going to come.
That's
And so
shed
let's start over. So it will shed off to prepare for the next cycle.
So the blood being shed is blood
blood.
that was preparing for the baby
for a
to
baby
come.
and it's disappointed.
So why do some people when they menstruate it smells?
Well, when you are menstruating, unless you have an infection in your womb, the blood should not smell.
Okay.
I mean, blood has a natural smell. That is a giving, but it shouldn't be offensive unless the person has an infection or the person is not changing herself often enough.
Yeah.
Or showering, you know.
Yes, because
twice
if you are
a-
not bathing or you are keeping the tampon or pad there for a long time,
It would
it's
smell.
going to smell.
Okay. So now you said that people are eating vaginas while people are menstruating.
Yes.
And is that okay?
Well, if it's okay for him, it's not my mouth.
If you like it, it's good. It's
I
good
mean,
for you.
if it's good for
you, it's good.
Well, for me, if it
not my
is
mouth.
good for the, if it is good for him, who am I to
not?
judge?
And then what about having sex while you're menstruating?
So let me give you a scenario. My husband travels out of the country. He's been away for 6 months or 3 months or even 1 month, because 1 month is a really long time. And then he arrives at Kotoka the day I start my menses. I've missed my husband. He has missed me. I'm going to have my period for 7 days.
Or 6
Or
or 5?
now or 6 or 5, even 3. Or but now
You can give him head.
Well, that is there, but
Or-
some people want the pussy.
Then do anal.
Oh my goodness. That is a story for another day.
So today we want that story.
I mean, somebody, if it is a couple who think anal is good for them,
It's good for them.
I'm not here to judge.
But there are some couples who feel like having sex, like maybe the man feels icky
Yeah, so I'm
having
coming
sex.
to it. So, I mean, my menses or your wife is in her menses, but you guys really want to get it on. There's no law against it. You go into the shower. You can do it in the shower together. That's one way to do it. If you don't want to do it in the shower, you want to do it on the bed. The woman quickly baths, make sure that she's cleaned the place, there's no blood. You put a bed mat on your bed. Then you quickly have your show, have a good show. Menstruation should not stop you from having a good
but
show.
there's some women who, like when I menstruate, I'm in pain. Like I get my cramps are really
Oh my
bad.
dear, that is why medicine has advanced.
Hey, what do I answer for baby?
No, you shouldn't. I mean, why should menstrual cramps stop you from having good sex?
But okay, what about
Take
the
a paracetamol, take a brufen. Drink a lot of water.
What about the
And
spirit?
you know that sex is a natural pain reliever.
Mate. What about people who feel like the spiritual aspect of having sex it's a taboo to have sex while you're on your period? Like you're not clean. as a woman. So spiritually, it's not good to have sex while you're on your period.
I have stepped away from that belief where, even in the Bible, there were places where they said that when a woman is having a flow, she shouldn't go to church. She shouldn't do. I preach when I'm in my period.
I think that's the Old Testament, though. That was the Old Testament, right? Yeah, when they said those in Leviticus.
There are lots of things in the Bible that are old or new, but they don't apply. In the Bible, were they talking about airplanes and the things with internet? How do you explain those things that were not mentioned in the Bible?
Yeah.
And that is why we are like God. He's giving us sense. He's giving us mind and wisdom. You use your mind to decide what is good. And if I think that my husband has been away for too long and I really want him to give me a good fuck, I'll go into the shower, clean the blood, and I'll come and I'll let him make love to me.
Right.
After that, I'll go and take my bath. So I do not think it is a sin.
Right. So it's basically each individual. You are your God in that situation. You make that choice. What works best for you?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
That is my opinion.
Doc, do you believe in like this question? I don't know. People will come and attack me. I mean, I don't care.
Then you attack me too.
Oh no. So you're a doctor. Title no. Fucking.
I'm a church girl and so.
Oh, forget this answer now. Okay, cannot. Virginity it's some people see that being a virgin is a prize. Like nobody has ever touched you. In this day and age that we're in, does being a virgin hold some kind of value?
Well, it depends on the angle at which you are looking at it.
Okay.
Because I know people, I think there are people who are virgin, quote and unquote. When we talk about virgin, we are talking about a man or woman who has not had sexual intercourse, right?
Yeah.
I know there are people out there who have never had sexual intercourse. And there are people whose body counts are like 50 or 60. But the quality of human beings that these people with 50 body counts have cannot be compared to that of that virgin. Let me give you a typical example. There are situations in life that people go through. Let's take a very virtuous woman, never had sex, married as a virgin. Very good woman. But then life happens to her and then the marriage breaks. This is a very classic example I'm giving you. And whenever you have a failed marriage or any kind of devastating life situation, it kind of turns you upside down in a way. And this person who was virtuous, let's say virgin until she married, suddenly finds herself going through the men like that. It is a phase because of what life has thrown at her.
Yeah.
And when she finally finds herself back, that value that she had is not lost because she went through 10 or 15 women. And so it is a very relative subject.
Yeah.
And there are people who have never had sex before, but they don't really hold any value.
Yeah.
So it is not just one angle. It is a very multifaceted thing when it comes to virginity and value.
Okay.
So basically, you could be a virgin and have no value, and then you could be promiscuous, or maybe you've explored in sex, but then you are you hold yourself in a very high esteem.
Yes.
You're respectful.
Yes.
So, but our society, it's very sad. It's very sad that when a woman is sexually liberated or
Just
she's
assume
experienced, they assume so, I can say that sometimes a lot of women who don't grow up with fathers, they tend to look for love outside and they look for love in men.
Yeah.
And then most of the time they don't find the love in men because what they're looking for is actually within themselves, but they're not being guided. And then society starts to give them all these kind of names and they're attacking them in so many ways, not really ready to understand why this girl, this woman is behaving the way she's behaving, because she didn't grow up with a father. She didn't grow up with a male figure. And she's been looking for it in all these men and she never found it. It's a very sad thing, but it's the reality.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of young women, what they need to understand that you can never find love outside of yourself.
Very true.
Any love that you're really looking for, you have to first have it within yourself. So once you have that love within yourself, you understand that love and how you now know how you want to be loved. And then that kind of love that you want, you would now start to attract it. A lot of our parents, like I know that there are many mothers who, the fathers, they leave, they're not there, and they're just there with the child, left for them for just to take care of their child, and the mother too, she's very busy, and they forget that they need to now be a role model for their children, and then they're not, and their children are outside doing things, and they close their minds thinking that these kids, they're not doing things outside, but they are. Your children are learning things outside from other people and even on the internet. So I feel like it's very important for whether single mothers or even two-parent homes to really learn how to love their kids, how the kids want to be loved and need to be loved. Some parents love their kids how they were loved as kids, which was not in the right way.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes parents are physically abusing their kids and they're saying that this is love. But that's not really love. That's just abuse. And because you were abused as a child, you're now abusing your child. I really feel like it's very important for our parents to really learn how to love their kids, talk to their kids, especially about sex. When my cousin, she told me, like, when she was in school, boarding school, no, you will see Emma 16, 17 there, and then there's abortions on the roadside. Yeah, in school. And I know a lot of these girls who are watching, when you guys go to boarding schools, they're having sex. They're going from all girls school, they go to the boys school, they're having sex, and then they're having abortions the wrong way, and then some people are dying because the conversations are not being had from home. So it's very, very important to have these conversations with your kids. What being a virgin is, what sex is, like. It's important because one oba and kasa, abontini ni bekasa, and then they'll learn the wrong way, and then they end up being fucked mentally. And a lot of adults have carried emotional trauma from a young age, and it shows in their adulthood because they never dealt with it.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm talking a lot, but
no, but
it's very important.
Everything you have said is really true. And for a lot of people that we label as promiscuous, like you rightly said, it is because of something that went wrong in their development.
Yeah.
When you don't realize that all the love you are seeking for, it should come from you first.
Yeah.
You understand how you want to be loved, and then you can go out there into the marketplace and you know what you are looking for.
Yeah.
But when you don't, you settle for anything and you keep settling
settling,
on the wrong
you keep
people.
settling,
And
honestly,
you keep
multiple people.
Yes.
Yes.
So it all starts from our socialization. And when you kept saying our parent, I was just smiling, and I'm like, if you are very soon, you are going to be a parent, and you are a change maker. All of you here. And I'm happy with this podcast because we talk about things that should really and will really affect society.
Yeah.
We need to change some of the ways we are doing things.
Yeah.
We don't know it all, but we make a little change at a time. And 5 years from now, 10 years from now, society is going to be all the better for it. So thank you for being bold and speaking the truth without being afraid.
Oh, and thank you for coming.
Well, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
It's been lingering in my mind, okay?
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, do you think sex should be just about the penis and the vagina? Okay, the reason why I'm asking this question is because I watched a movie, right? Like about 3 movies, and then they were having sex with some other parts of their bodies instead of just the penis and the vagina. I think one movie I watched, the man was inserting his hand into the woman's vagina. And then some other one too, he was inserting his feet into like her tummy. And it was just a way of like having pleasure and all of that. What do you think about all those things?
Moving on,
I'll check and share with you.
Please let me know.
But like, people actually do that.
I would make a very blanket statement at this point. You see, sex is between two people, ideally. So between the two of you, whatever feels good to the two of you, whatever is comfortable, whatever you have agreed on, once it gives you pleasure, you are okay with it, you are not being forced to do it, it is fine by me.
But medically, is it okay to stick your foot in somebody's vagina? Okay, well, baby
You
comes
know
out.
the things people put into the vagina.
What
And
time
it's a jungle down there already.
Some guy went to the he had to go to the emergency room because there was a remote in his ass. He was having sex with his wife and they were doing things in the bedroom and then they used the remote. Whatever suits. But I have a question. Squirting. There's a question I wanted to ask.
Oh my God.
Squirting. Before we end, I know we've been going on. What is squirting? Because I heard it was pee. It's a pee.
Well, when you put it that way, it sounds some way. The constituent of squirt is mostly urine, but it does not come out from where your urine would come from. The constituent is just like urine, almost. Yeah, but it comes from different glands, and it is not pee. If you are having sex and you pee, it is not squirting.
But can you even have sex and pee? You can't even have sex. Doesn't that part close?
It depends. Some people, because of how many children they've had, their pelvic muscles,
weak.
There are some people, they even laugh and they pee into their pants. Yes. And I know some women, this one, I heard somebody confess that sometimes the man is jaying all the skills and she's in a hurry for you to get up because she's like, oh my God, this is so boring. She's going to just pee on the bed so that you think that she has come.
Wow.
This is somebody's confession, yes.
But isn't come more creamy?
No, but like you said, for the woman, when you squirt, the liquid that comes out, it is quite similar to urine. And the man's face is not there. At that point, maybe it's penetrative sex.
But cum and squirting are two different things.
They are two different things,
right.
Yes. But
the man would think so because you squirted, you're okay.
Yes.
So how do you get somebody to squirt?
So squirt is two things, okay? For some women, it can be the same thing in the same woman. Squirting is just to tell you that she's very sexually aroused. 1. 2, squirting can mean that she's actually having an orgasm. So in one woman, you can have squirting, which is just sexual excitement. You can have squirting, which is orgasm. And it is very difficult for a man to tell the difference between the two. But whichever way it is, when a woman squirts, it means that you are doing good.
Does every woman squirt?
I think that is a very small percentage of women who squirt.
Why?
Not because it's only a small percentage you have that capacity, but it's a small percentage who are able to get to that point where they are so disinhibited and into the sex enough to let themselves go and squirt. Because every woman has the capacity to squirt. In my previous marriage, I never squirted.
But in this one?
Oh my goodness.
Hey, daughter! Oh my God!
So it is not a biological thing. It depends on
I love this doctor.
Who you're doing it with.
who you are doing it with, the kind of connection you have with the person.
Yes, it's very important.
And that is generally how sex is.
Yeah.
It depends on who you are doing it with.
Honestly.
And the kind of connection that you have with it.
It's true. The connection is very true because there's... Hey. It's okay.
Oh,
If
you
you
want
talk.
to hear.
Maybe talking. We don't talking.
Confess.
I won't confess.
Oh my God.
Rants, we ain't take confessions. Because if I talk about like my ex, like I've had exes, okay? And both of them, I love them. You know, I was emotionally attached to them. I loved how they treated me. But the sex with both of them were different, you know? And with one sex, I was able to reach a level of, you know, an orgasmic level. And the other one, the sex was great. It was amazing, but I never had an orgasm. So like you said, the connection is very, very, very different. And also I feel like as you get older and as you mature as a woman, you also know the things that you want more when you're having sex. Like what you wanted when you were 18 or 19 is not what you want when you're 30.
No, it's not. It's
or when
not
you're
the
26 or 25. So yeah, the connection is very important. I feel like at the end of the day, you need to have a connection with someone before you have sex with them. Like with me, if there's no connection, no matter how much money you have, no matter what you got, I can't even kiss you. That's why that's why I can date somebody who probably doesn't have a lot of money, but there's this connection, there's this vibe with them. And then there's somebody else who might have a lot of money, but and they could be very handsome, but there's no connection. So the connection is very important, like you said.
You're absolutely right.
Clock it. I mean, maybe I've squirted before, but it was one time.
Oh, you need to squirt more often. You have to work on
But it
that.
wasn't during penetration. It was when I was giving him head.
Oh, no, I mean...
And I was surprised. I thought it was only through, like, penetration or, like...
No. Most of the squirting that you do is probably not even through penetration, just like most orgasms. A lot more women have orgasm through non-penetrative sex.
Yes, through getting their vagina eating.
Not just that, a lot of other things.
So what are the things?
Oh, for some women, just sucking their breast alone. And please remember, the breast is if you are a man and you are not spending time on the breast, please, you need to revise your notes.
So it's very important for the man to suck the breast. What about
a lot of women have... Oh, sweetheart, it is not about the size of your breast.
Clock it.
The most important part of the breast is the
nipple.
That is where all the nerves are. And so once you have a nipple, you are good to go. And there are some men who are very sensitive on their breasts.
Their nipples,
They don't have any breast tissue. They have a nipple. That's all you need.
So it's not about the size of the breast.
It's not about the size. Although there are personal preferences, there are some men who want the boobs all over their face. That is why you look before you choose.
Yeah. And the same way with,
it's part of the value system. If you think that you like big ass and big boobs, go for that one.
Yeah. The same thing with men and their penises. Like the last podcast, I had a conversation and I said how, like, I was talking to this guy, really, really nice guy. Like, oh my God, like he's amazing. But his penis was too small. And somebody went to write that. It's not about the snake in the grass. Maybe you can see a form culture on Twitter. Anyway, they're basically trying to say that my vagina hole is too big.
Oh, no. There's nothing like a vagina being too big or
Thank
too
you.
small.
Let them know. Educate these fools.
The vagina is very elastic and can accommodate. Look at the size of a baby.
Exactly.
And I just did something on penis size. The size of the penis is not really the issue. But granted, there are some women who prefer bigger penises. So if that is your preference, by all means, go for a big one. But when it comes to pleasuring a woman in the general sense of the word, it is not dependent on the penis size. There are some men, it's really so much more of what you can do with the penis. And one time I said this to a man and he thought I was crazy, but I was serious. I can live with a man who does not have a penis. Thank God I don't live with one.
The eunuchs?
But I can.
You can live with a eunuch?
I didn't say that. A man without a penis. But he should be able to use his hands and the other appendages God gave him. Because to give a woman pleasure in bed and orgasm, you don't really need the penis.
But doesn't the
penis
play
feels
a
really
factor?
good. Please, it feels very good. Don't get me wrong, but that is not the only thing that can give a woman pleasure.
Hey, doctor. Boy, yeah.
Oh, my boy. Have you not had orgasm without penetration?
Doctor, listen, I like you said, everybody is different. Some people might not need the penis.
That's exactly my point. I mean, we are all different.
Yeah, we're all different. You're right.
So some people really don't mind the size.
Because some people have huge penises and they don't know what to do with it. Oh, yeah. Like you said, yeah, it's true.
So it's really about your skill.
Yeah, it's about the motion in the ocean. Today was very educative, very informative. Those that are in relationships, they're going to take some of the advices and they'll go home with it.
Yes, we are.
And then that we are saying, but you don't so soon be on. Majai.
Sure.
Today you've been why? You're just taking everything in.
I'm going to use it next week, so I need to be very quiet so that I can keep sharp.
You're going to use it next week? Hey, Ajua.
Yeah.
Good for you.
He's meeting me next week.
He's meeting you where?
Next week.
So you're going to use all this information. What did you learn?
Me when I'm with somebody, right? Okay, my love language is physical touch.
What you think of?
My love language is physical touch. Okay, so I like when I'm with somebody and I'm in your, like, I want to be with them, be in your skin. You see that kind of thing.
Now the whole shashano, like the cat kind of behavior.
And fortunately, I like what you said, like, I'm blessed. Like, I really like people that want you to be in their skin. And I don't know, the one I'm with right now, that's how he is.
Oh, and they're told lies.
Oh, I told me lies, some door.
Enjoy it.
I'm enjoying it. So today I've absorbed so much. The only part that I think I'm now learning about is with the whole virginity and those things, because I grew up with my dad. And growing up with my dad, I didn't even know when I had my first period. I had my period at 11 years. And I was at a friend's house, I was playing. Me wanna see, there's blood at it. And I was like, blood. So when I saw blood coming, I didn't understand. So I went to ask my friends, and I said, I went to pee and blood is coming. What do I do? Now that they came to teach me about. So my dad didn't teach me those stuff. Also, when I had my first sex, as she said, I didn't even know it was called virginity.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that it was supposed to be precious.
Yes.
And see, Mariana, I went to school the next day, and our teacher was talking about those reproduction things. I was like,
Right.
because I didn't know. Right. And I'm sure if I knew about it then, I would have still
probably
been,
not have given it away that
and
way.
I'll still be a virgin till now.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
say the same thing.
But then I lost it, and then later on I come to realize that no, I fucked up.
Yeah.
You know.
But it's not your fault, though.
Yeah.
It's not your fault. Always remember that.
That one, yeah.
It's not your fault.
I think it's something that's happened. You just, and then I don't know about this thing. People say there's secondary virginity, there's tertiary virginity.
Oh, I beg. Forget
I'm
those
obliged,
ones. They're just finding a way to make themselves feel better. If you're not a virgin, you're not a virgin. If you are, you are.
If you are a virgin, you are. If you are not,
If you're not,
you are
you're not.
Once your hymen has been broken, you're not a
you are
virgin.
no longer a
Yes.
virgin. But
Unless you're a
But
virgin,
as she said,
it
some
comes
people say
about
it's,
because we tie virginity to a person's moral standard.
Yes.
It is not necessarily true.
yes.
okay. So you know, I mean, this is very educative. Like
Yes.
I've learned so much. Next week, he's going to fail.
Make him feel. And I want to say one thing here for a lot of girls and probably a few boys who have lost their virginity because at the time they did not even know what they were handing out.
Yeah.
It's a failure of society that we did not get that understanding. And if you have been a victim of that, it's not your fault. And what we can do to help our children is to teach them so that they understand the value of virginity. At the time they are giving it up, let them understand that this is the value and I have decided to give it up. Let them be informed.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Honestly, today you've given us a lot of information, and I feel like a lot of people who are watching have gained a lot of knowledge and understanding of sex and the conversations that need to be had at home. I hope that the parents who are watching, who are seeing this, do decide to start having conversations with their kids, because your kids are having sex. Your kids are smoking. Your kids are drinking. Your kids are on social media. They're seeing a lot. Social media is teaching your kids the things that you're not teaching them. Yeah. So I feel like it's better as a parent to guide your kids and have conversations. Just because you're a parent don't mean that you can't be friends with your kids, you know? There's a thin line, but then just like make sure you have that bond with your child so that they can feel easy, that they can come to you and talk about anything and everything. Like a lot of kids are afraid to go to their parents and talk about things because they're afraid that they're going to be scolded or they're going to be judged or something is going to happen to them. But that's not it. You know, kids are not kids. Like they're doing things. They're having sex. You as a mother, you were having sex. That's why you had your child. And you were having sex, you know, before you even got married. So how much more your children?
One shout.
I'm shouting.
One shout. Don't
One
say it
shouting.
out loud.
I'll shout and say it. Oh, as a mother, no, now who do you? At 14 and 15. So what are you talking about? Have the conversations. Let's just, you know, let's change the narrative and involve ourselves. Let's get involved in our children's lives. You know, I wish my mom was involved in my life at a young age where I can talk to her about, you know, virginity and all. I'm telling you, if I knew how precious my virginity was, I don't think I would have given it away that easily. I didn't know what the hell it was. I thought being a virgin was a lesbian. I swear to God, I didn't know the difference between being a virgin and being a lesbian. And they're making fun of me in school in the States. So conversation is important. I'm so glad that you came today. Honestly, you've given us so much knowledge. Hopefully you can come back again and we can talk about more things.
Naughty stuff or health stuff.
Maybe. Do you guys have anything else to say? I mean,
yeah, so if you have said a lot, and even if you're not a parent now, one day we are all hoping to be parents and everything. So you can just as well gather some of the things that we've spoken about on here today and then use it in the future. Or if you have siblings, you can talk to them. Okay, be that person for them if your parents are not willing to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe they weren't taught to do it, so it's okay. But you have the experience. You watch things. You've seen this podcast. You've heard a lot. Talk to your siblings about it. Tell them, your cousins, call them, educate them, okay? Please, so they are safe. I beg.
All right, so the double standards that comes with sex, virginity, body count, being shy, having to pretend. It looks like it's not a thing that is going to end now. It's going to be, it's here, it was there, it's going to be in the future. And it's very nice and very educative that you are here with us. You know, there are a lot of people that are going to watch this, and there are things that you said that they've not heard before. So I'm very thankful and very appreciative that you are here with us, because me myself have learned so much, because I'm usually not this quiet. I'm never this quiet.
I'm making plans.
Well, we need that. So I'm just very, very, very appreciative, because I realized sometime back that, on this podcast, we have a lot of teenage girls watching us. We have older women too watching us. And, you know, it just feels very nice that they are going to learn a lot from you. And so please don't forget to give us your TikTok handles, all your social media, so we can also follow you and also learn more from you.
Right. A way to contact you also.
Yes, please.
Thank you for finding me, and thank you for bringing me here. I'm very privileged.
That's so sweet.
So what's your TikTok, your social media, your handles or whatever?
Also, basically, Dr. Osei Kranting on TikTok, and for most of the other social media handles, Dr. Rosemond Osei Kranting. You type my name.
Okay.
On YouTube, it's Rand Vibes, RANDVY. BZ, Rand Vibes. But once you type Dr. Rosemond Osei Kranting, it should come up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's segment. We'll see you guys next week on Rants, Bants, and
Confessions.
Bye.